A lot of men think that success is complicated, but I want to say that it isn't. A lot of things are actually brutally simple, including things that may seem complex. Because the problem isn't a lack of information. The problem is that most men refuse to focus on the things that actually matter. Let's take individuals such as Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, or Alex Hormozy. They all share very similar traits. They might portray them differently, they might act differently, and they've obviously built very different businesses. However, all of three of them are very successful men because they're all accountable and disciplined. And because of that, their foundation is solid. So I want to talk about 5 things you need to focus on in order to be successful. Before I go any further, I just want to ask you a little favor. Can you put the video in full screen, please? Because that makes sure you're going to fully immerse yourself, take some notes, and enjoy. The first thing is to build ruthless discipline. Motivation is way too unstable because it shows up when things feel exciting, but as soon as things become a little bit difficult, well, it's nowhere to be seen, is it? Because it is very easy for you to jump on your game, but it's not that easy for you to do the washing. Discipline, on the other hand, doesn't actually care about how you feel. You simply train it by doing the things you said you're going to do, even when you don't want to. Wake up when you said you're going to. Go to the gym at the time you said you was going to. Finish what you started. It's all about keeping promises to yourself over and over again. It's not complicated, but it is difficult. But because it's not complicated, it should be pretty easy for you to put it into your routine. The simplest way for you to train discipline is to have a small plan, a simple plan. Because if you create one and you stick to it relentlessly, before you know it, you're going to have very good discipline because you're just going to get on with things even when you don't feel like doing them. Personally for me, I write out everything on Sunday for the following week. And as I go along and finish the task, I delete it off my list. I keep this flexible because things can pop up, but the concept always remains the same. Because the most important thing is that is just how you simply train yourself. Train yourself to do the things you may not want to do on certain days or certain times. You may be tired, that's all right, but you have your to-do list to fall back on. And you got to get it done. Because without that, you're never going to build strong discipline. For the second thing, you have to protect your physical health like it's an asset. Because I truly believe that it is. Your body is quite literally the engine behind everything that you do. I do believe that if you have a weak body, you're going to have a weak output. Train yourself, train your muscles, go to the gym, lift weights, go running. Eat like someone who respects themselves. I find that a lot of men underestimate just how much confidence and mental resilience you get from looking after yourself and being physically fit. I'm not saying you have to have a six-pack or be stage ready, because I know a lot of guys that have a flat stomach, but they can run a marathon and deadlift 200 kilos. And I know those numbers may not sound impressive on their own because there are people who have done far more both ways. But I also know a lot of people that cannot do any of those things and probably never will in their entire lifetimes. When I was showing my weekly to-do list earlier, you might have noticed some training sessions in there. Personally, I focus on cardio and weightlifting spread out throughout the week in different forms. Obviously, you may do something completely different, but mine is as follows. Monday, I go running. Tuesday, I do push day. Wednesday, I do pull day. Thursday, I rest. Friday, I play football. And then my weekend just varies. I either train or Saturday or Sunday because those tend to be my busiest days. This is when I record my videos. This is where I work on my business. This is where I visit my friends, do photo shoots, all of that. So obviously, I need to be quite flexible on the weekends. And that's fine. The matter of fact is though, all the other 5 days are very rigid and they stay as it is. But because this is my routine, I now know if I don't train Saturday, I go Sunday. If I train Saturday, I may not go Sunday because I want to rest or just do more work. Either way, that's how it goes. If you want, you could just take mine, copy it, and just change the sport you play, because you may not want to go running, you might want to go play badminton. You may not want to go to the gym, you may want to go swimming, and that's okay. Do whatever it is that you want to do. Just take a simple plan like mine and change it to suit you. For the third thing, you absolutely have to control your time and attention. Your attention is an asset that every single company out there wants. Everybody wants your eyeballs glued to their product, watching their videos, consuming their content. I suppose kind of like what you're doing right now with my content. However, I'm here to help you, not to take your money from you. So I hope that's the saving grace here from me. Because modern life is literally designed to fragment your focus and your attention from, endless scrolling and adverts, all this entertainment just everywhere. You can't get away from it. And if you don't control your focus, someone else will. And that's pretty apparent in modern world. All the successful men treat time and focus like it's an actual currency. Because at the end of the day, you spend it and you will never get it back. It is them that decide what gets their attention. Not the algorithm, not the ads, not the people, them. They decide what they spend it on. I think a good way to work on obtaining and retaining your focus is by setting yourself time blocks in the week. I suppose this goes back to the timetable I showed you earlier. Obviously, if you wanted to, you can write out the times associated with them. You can say from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. I do this. From 6 p.m. till 7 p.m. I do that. And then 7 p.m. onwards, I chill. I rest. I do what I want. One thing I learned from Atomic Habits, really recommend the book, by the way. James Clear explains everything so well. Is that if you're very specific about what it is that you want to do, you are more likely to do it. If you just say, I want to go gym this week, there's a chance you won't. But if you say that if you're going to go to the gym on Tuesday and Thursday, there's a much higher chance they will. But if you say that you're going to go to the gym on Tuesday from 4 p.m. till 5:30 p.m. and Thursday from 5 p.m. till 6:30 p.m., you are the most likely to go because you made it clear as to what it is that you're going to do. You're essentially just kind of eliminating any room for error or negotiation from your brain, because the less clarity there is, the more room your brain has to create excuses. And your brain will create excuses at any chance it can possibly get, because it is simply wired to avoid difficult things. So it is your responsibility to counter that by having the right plan and the right schedule. The fourth thing, develop a valuable skill. The world rewards usefulness. That's just how it is. It doesn't care about your potential and it doesn't care about your intentions. It only cares about what can you bring to the table. And I know that's not very nice, but that's just how it is. Whether it's business, sales, sport, science, cooking, whatever. Pick something and get good at it. Dangerously good at it. To a point where people think about you that you're an expert in that field. Whenever someone mentions the word, they immediately think about your name. Because there are always going to be people or businesses that are going to be willing to pay for you to solve that problem or fill that gap. You're essentially just turning your knowledge into leverage, your knowledge into money. So you just get so good at a skill, you become irreplaceable. Finally, for the fifth thing, is to take responsibility for everything. Because the reality is that something may not be your fault, but it may very well become your problem. Whether you like it or not, you have to sort it. Blaming other people or circumstances might feel good in the moment, but it doesn't actually solve anything. It just brushes the problem off to the side. And when you do that, the problem just comes back bigger. So take responsibility, because responsibility is the thing that actually gives you control. And control is where this change actually begins. Because if you're on the way to work and somebody hits your car, that may not be your fault. However, it is now your responsibility to sort it out. You'll have to speak to them, the insurance company, the police, whatever else. You can't just drive off and leave it. You're gonna have to get it sorted. Sorting things out rather than avoiding them is gonna get you a lot further in life than just moaning or running away. Just like with everything else that we spoke about, it's a matter of putting it into your hands, just getting it done, creating a plan, actually sticking to it, looking after yourself, looking after your finances. And you do that long enough, things fall into place. I believe that modern life quietly encourages weakness. A lot of people talk about speaking out and saying, talking about your opinion, but there's less and less people talking about actually doing the doing. A lot of people just kind of want things to come to them because they expressed that they wanted it, or they don't feel like well enough about it, or they just feel offended by it. I don't believe that's how things work. I truly do believe that you have to put the effort in. Don't get me wrong, being vocal, completely okay. But it is up to you to choose how you want to live life. Because cheap dopamine is everywhere. Systems are quite literally designed to keep you consuming and not building. And a distracted man is much easier to control. A tired man is much easier to manipulate. And a comfortable man doesn't change. And if you don't consciously fight against that pull, 10 years will just disappear like that. And you're going to just thinking about how not long ago you were doing this at uni, or not long ago you were doing this with your kid, and now they are a teenager and you never see them again because they are always out. Time flies, especially when you're comfortable. So, create a plan, stick to it, look after yourself, develop a skill, and be accountable for everything. Those 5 things are going to take you very far. Now it's your turn to put the work in. So I wish you best of luck, and I'll see you next week.